Hello, welcome to this episode of the Ground Control Branching Out podcast. I'm your humble host, Neil Bailey, and in this episode, we're talking to Adam Murray, Grounds Maintenance Team Leader, back up round near my hometown of sunny Barnsley. So let's get straight into it and find out all about what he does day to day. So welcome to the podcast, Adam. Thanks so much for coming on it. I know this is definitely not your usual thing to do, your day job. So if you would for me just kind of say who you are and what you do.
My name's Adam Murray. I am used to be a charge hand. It's team leader now.
Right.
I'm a team leader, yeah. I'm DE Yorkshire. Do all the landscaping up this end.
Yeah. It's nice to hear hear a fellow Yorkshire accent, of course. Although mine's got a southern twang these days, of course. So, what do you actually do? Kind of, what would be a typical day, typical week? What are the kind of things you get involved with?
Summertime, obviously, is busiest time. Just basically, I have like a fortnightly turnaround of sites. Well, usually, and try and get around them all. You know, they have the fortnightly visits and what have you. Get around, cut the grass, cut the edges, weed spray, and just basically make everything look fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, in a nutshell.
Okay. And so is it you hands-on, you doing it? Are you supervising other people to do it? Bit of both?
Yeah, a bit of both. Obviously, I'm in charge of only one person at the moment.
Right.
I think there's some more coming. But yeah, basically, I have an idea in my head. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing once I get on sites. Obviously, the previous visits, so what I've missed or what's to do. And just basically have a quota in my head what I want for the day.
Right.
And once I've smashed the quota, you know, isn't that nice?
And how many sites do you look after, you personally?
Off the top of my head, like I say, some come and go. There's quite a lot. About 30, 40. Some of them are like huge. Some of them are absolutely next to no. Some are really, really quick jobs.
Right.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 minute spraying jobs are what have you. But yeah, some of them are full days, and some.
Yeah. Okay.
Per fortnight. So.
Yeah. So how do you know what you need to do on each site?
Well, I've been doing this 20 years now.
Well, okay. For ground control or elsewhere as well?
I did work with my bosses that have just left from the company for almost 10 years, and I've been here just over 10 years as well.
Wow.
But they've only recently left, so you've got to get the grasses cut every fortnight for starters, and then as a couple of months comes in towards summertime, you've got to start on edges, not cut them too early for them budding and what have you, and just basically, I like to just keep on top of things and make sure that, you know, things are done accordingly. And just everything's cut short and nice. And have you?
And for those, obviously, that aren't familiar with what you do, so you're saying about, you know, cutting the grass every 2 weeks. So with what you get involved with, other than it, you know, doing a good job, is there a set standard? Is there, I don't know, a cutting length that you have to do? How specific does it get?
It depends, really, from site to site. Some grasses are denser than others.
Right.
You may get to end of season and not even have to cut the grass. I mean, it didn't happen last year, but in years past, it's gone that yellow. You know, the sun scorched if you cut it too low.
Yes, of course.
It's actually kind of nice, a bit of respite. You know, you can drop back on some edges and not have to cut the grass as much. But you know, it like I said, it didn't happen last year. They were absolutely backwards last year. It got so dense and so wet, and they're in a set standard of oak, really. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to just, you know, take it to what you can. Because if you cut it too low, it won't cut properly. If you cut it too high, obviously it'll be too dense for next time. So it's really. So
And how much extra stuff would you do? So I'm just trying to think. You were talking about kind of the grass yellowing there. So if you had a patch of the grass that you were cutting that had died off for whatever reason, would you then get involved with reseeding, or would that be something extra? Kind of how does all that extra stuff work?
Well, I think it's all up to the client, really. I think if they see it and that's what they want, then that's what they'll get, I guess. But not necessarily. No, it's basically maintenance. on my side of things until people say otherwise. So
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
unless I report it and then it comes to people's attentions and what have you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And how do you mark work as complete in terms of, for GC or whoever? Is it done kind of every time do you mark on a system somewhere that job's complete, or is it done a little bit more ad hoc than that?
No, it's well, we have the Soma app, so I take pictures
Right.
of the works, the works that I'm doing that day.
Okay.
Before and afters and what have you. And I think they get paid. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but
Yeah.
they get paid like so much for a set visit, and obviously on a fortnightly basis, it's
Right.
X amount for however big site is, I suppose.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I don't sort of directly do the money thing. It's not sort of. Yeah, I'm the yes man.
So for those like me who've never used it, tell us a bit about the Soma app then. How does that work for you?
Well, it's a good thing to have, really, I suppose. Client gets to see it, and everyone, knows what crack is and what's going on and what work's been undertaken.
Okay. So the client can see it as well as us.
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just basically before and after pictures, what you did, how much chemical you put down, what weather conditions were like.
Yeah.
Other things as well, just you can put little notes on there, how much waste you took away, what type of waste it was,
right,
where you put it. I mean, just things like that. So it's a good app, really, for everyone to see, exactly what happened and what didn't happen and what have you. So
yeah. And what
Yeah.
brought you to this point? Have you always worked in this kind of area?
What, in landscaping?
Yeah.
No, funnily enough, I have done for the last 20 years, but I've been a chef in an Italian restaurant.
Okay.
I used to sell cars for Peugeot.
Oh, okay.
And I did a brief stint at McDonald's while I were at college.
Oh, of course, pretty mandatory. Pretty mandatory back in the day, certainly.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, what got you into this industry then?
I used to work for a company called Brambledown, many moon ago. It was more of a softscapes,
right?
Planting trees, doing turf, things like that.
Yeah.
Don't do a massive amount of that these days with this company, but you just sort of, that was the first one I worked for. I worked there for a few years. And then I worked for it was basically like what ground control took over my old company that I used to work for. There was sort of like a cleaning, like exterior cleaning. And then I sort of come into the company, taken from my old company, and sort of was like the landscaper instead of them like subcontracting and things like that. So
yeah. Interesting. What are some of the kind of the biggest challenges you face, and kind of how do you deal with them?
Biggest challenges?
Yeah.
As long as you do, you've got good time management, you make sure people are
in
and home on time, and jobs are spread out between people. People's strengths and weaknesses and what have you, and just making sure that basically through your day you can get round and get X amount of edges done, and obviously all the grass, 'cause it's the fortnightly turnaround on the grass. Just making sure everything's spick and span. Making sure you take care of front of house first and what people see. Keep edges low. It's a lot of like retail parks and things like that, and you've got to keep edges low. Make sure no one's crashing into each other and they can see round corners, and just line of sight, things like that. Line of sight and attention to detail.
Interesting. So I'm assuming that's line of sight for pedestrians and kind of vehicles as well.
Yeah, everything like that. Just like I say, a lot of them it's basically a lot of them car parks. Sometimes you've got to get in early, and otherwise you can't get to do your job. Just make sure you've got some secateurs in your pocket. Yeah,
absolutely. So when you're not kind of in the thick of it with the old grasses and hedges and everything, growing like Billy-O, what are you doing then off season?
Yeah, so like now, like winter time, there's a lot of veg reduction that you couldn't get on in the summer, or some things. There's loads to do. There's never nothing to do.
Of course.
Yeah, even if it's, well, obviously, as soon as the winter season starts, you get alt leaf collection for a start, and
Right.
that can be ongoing for X amount of time. Not all trees drop leaves at the same time.
Yeah.
And then, that's obviously ongoing until it's sort of like sort of mid-December, and then
Right.
you've usually got them all, and then it's just edge reduction, taking things back, any dead anywhere, taking trees up, carving trees up, things like that. So, or any extra works that usually come in.
Such as what might be included in extra works?
It depends, really. It can range from all sorts, like massive clearances, sometimes big litter picking jobs if someone needs a big blitz. It depends what Grant gets us, really.
Yeah.
If there's, or what clients might need.
Right.
I mean, sometimes we've done all sorts of wacky things. I've been replacing tiles once in Barnsley on side of the building. And that's just way out of scope. But yeah,
replacing what kind of tiles?
There would be these massive, hefty tiles that sort of clicked in. It was a bit like laminate, sort of clicking in and out together. But it was like massive tiles on the side of these buildings. Somewhere in Barnsley it was. So
I was just going to say, I was just going to double check Barnsley. That's my hometown. So.
All right.
Barnsley, born and bred. Okay.
Not far from Metrodome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know that very well.
Comet is. They have a Popeye's chicken there now.
That was it.
Yeah.
It's been quite a while since I've been
there. Yeah.
Funnily, if I'm going up this weekend to see my folks because they're still up there, so I'll have to try and pop round and have a little drive by and have a look. So, are you purely maintenance? Do you ever get involved with any kind of the new plantings, or I don't know if we took on a new out of town shopping centre or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would do. If jobs come up and there's things like that, I know what I'm doing with all them sort of things. Like I say, I used to do a lot of softscapes, some hardscapes as well.
Yeah,
like, paving and fencing and things like that. So, but we don't really get involved in much things like that. But I would do if I were asked.
Yeah,
obviously, things thin down a little in the winter. So
yeah. And if somebody was out there thinking they'd like to get into kind of the landscaping area, kind of into the kind of role you're doing, what kind of, I don't know, training, certifications, experience, what kind of advice would you give them? What would they need?
Well, experience of just using petrol tools at the moment.
Right.
Although that's a dying game.
Yes, of course.
We'll be fully electric very, very soon. Just experience on tools. Someone that's fit and healthy for it.
Yeah.
Don't mind getting wet and cold.
Yeah.
And just spray certificates and what have you. PA1, PA6.
Okay. Yeah.
For like weed spraying and things like that. That's always a good thing to have coming into this industry.
I've got all those. Maybe I need to change roles. And in terms of the hand tools, what we're talking in terms of the hand tools? Long
reach hedge cutters.
Okay.
Small handheld edge cutters, lawnmowers. I use a big 0 turn ride on, big Ferris.
Oh, okay, yeah.
58 inch width blade.
Nice.
Things like that. Pruner saws. I've got my chainsaw cross-cutting license for that.
Yeah.
That and obviously the petrol blowers and what have you. So I think we're getting inverters put in and we're going fully electric very soon.
Have you got any of the electric gear already, or is it not there yet?
There's a couple of bits and bobs.
Right.
But I have had them before.
How do you find them, just out of interest?
I think the technology's sort of come on quite a bit more about
of course.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
And you've got like backpacks on and stuff. I think they'll be pretty similar, but I think battery life might be a little bit better these days.
Yeah.
They are good. Really quiet.
Of course.
It's an eye opener when you've got a chainsaw running and it's like really quiet.
Yeah.
So
With your career so far, let's talk about from the ground control. So you said been with GC 10 years, did you say?
Yeah, just over 10
Yeah.
years.
So
I
in
actually
that
got
period, what are you most proud of?
most proud of.
Yeah.
Well, we did get silver in York in Bloom.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, at the end of this season for one of our industrial estates, which is nice.
Right. Okay.
As
York in
such,
Bloom. Well, there you go.
apparently so. Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
For the business park of all things as well. It's not the first place you'd think of.
well, it were actually an industrial estate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like Kew Gardens, and
Yeah.
we got a sweet hamper from Ground Control, which were nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Ground Control.
Well, yes, brilliant. Yeah, nice hamper. Excellent.
I'm still trying to plough through it.
That's good. Okay, that's interesting. That's been really, really useful and kind of good to kind of get us ins and outs here about the SOMA app and that kind of stuff. So yeah. I always end the podcast with a completely non-work related question. So with your chefy background, then, what was or is your signature dish?
Ooh, what is my signature dish?
Yeah, what's your go-to?
What I used to cook, or what I actually cook myself.
You could do either if you want.
Because I'm quite a foodie still.
Go on then.
I'd say maybe gambarino fritters.
You're gonna have to explain what the heck that is.
So that's basically tiger prawns in a tempura batter, which
nice.
is made. It's sort of like a light batter, made with like ice and sparkling water. So you get like tiger prawns, dip them in that, fry them off. Really, like I say, it's light and fluffy, and I'd have like from scratch aioli.
Nice.
You know what that is? Which a garlic mayonnaise from scratch, basically. Yeah. And a Thai chili dipping sauce on the other side. That'd probably be one of my signature ones. Wow. I actually used to make that at Chefing, and for 5 of them, it's about 13.5 quid for one starter.
Wow. Yeah. And is that something you'd still make now then?
Yeah, I do every now and then if I'm showing off. But I mean, it's not. You know, I basically used to get told off if I didn't cut my chilies red and green into uniform squares. You couldn't have any. You know, they're a bit finicky about things like that. So.
So in your home version, you're maybe not quite so precise, but you still make it.
Yeah, it does the trick, doesn't it? It's not a fashion show.
That sounds amazing. I definitely think I need a trip up to Barnsley in that case. If I can find you on the job and get some of that'd be great.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. All right, thanks so much for your time, Adam. That's really good. I really appreciate your time, and hopefully that wasn't as rough to do as you maybe thought it might be. So really good to speak to you.
Yeah, I wasn't too worried. It's only talking.
It's only talking. Fairly laid back.
Yeah, no problem.
And that was Adam Murray, everybody, grounds maintenance team leader. Great to hear about the practicalities of the role, Yorkshire in Bloom, hampers, and of course tempura prawns. Who wouldn't want to try with some of those? Thanks for listening. As ever, please do tell everybody else about the podcast. Share, like, subscribe, and until next time, take care.